Marvellous, love. Absolutely super. Yes, it's a behind-the-scenes show today, including an exclusive look at the making of an unusual PC game, Magic Carpet.
And now be going behind the scenes of a brand new Flintstones musical.
Yabba dabba doo!
Bad boy, Fang! Bad boy! Get down! Hello, slimy furtlers. Just trying to train Fang for the pet show. Now stay down. Down, I say. Daddy's got to get on with the cheats. My first cheat for today is for Global Gladiators on the Mega Drive. It lets you skip levels at any point during the game. Simply pause the game and type in B, C, B, A, B, B, C, B, A, B.
Peter, you did it!
Then unpause the game. And you'll skip straight to the next level. There we go. Hey, hey. Wow, 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 wow. Bang. Get off. Now stay, Bad Fang. Stay.
Cue Violet on 2.
But first, have a look at this. It's one of our studio TV monitors that's been damaged because it's had the same bright image left on it for too long. Look, you can see that's the clock that goes up before the programme, and you can just vaguely see the numbers there. But this doesn't just happen to studio monitors. In the early days of video games, people who played Pong for many months soon found white lines developing around the edges and down the middle of their screens. Now, because of this, most modern computers have a special program built in called a screensaver. This is our studio PC, and if we don't touch it for a while, then the screensaver will begin to run. In this case, it's the name of the manufacturer rolling across the screen.
It wasn't long before the programmers got bored with just rolling the company name across the screen, so they started to tinker with the screensavers and make them funnier. In fact, one of our deep techies here at Bad Influence has programmed this one with a very important message for our director. It says, time for a tea break, Jeremy.
And if your programming skills aren't so hot, you can buy a whole range of different screensavers to load onto your machine. This is a very famous one called Flying Toasters. Can of Worms is a fun one. The worms destroy your files by gobbling them up. This one's called Aquatic, and it gives you some wonderfully exotic fishy screensavers. And this one produces a bouncing globe. You can put any picture you want on it. Guess who's been fertling? But this brand new Star Wars screensaver's my favourite. It's a galaxy far, far away from Flying Toasters. All your favourite bits from the film are here, including this lightsaber duel between Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader. There's a famous scene in the Death Star Trench as the TIE fighters chase the Rebel X-Wings. And you can even type in important messages in the famous Star Wars scroll. Here's one I prepared earlier. Time for a tea break, Jeremy.
Oh, no, sorry, lovey, no tea break today. Just carry on with the item, and could you do it better, please? Thank you.
Now, normally at this point, I'd be frantically trying to work out what the next bit of the demo was. Because it's a screensaver, I just had to sit back and watch. There's loads in it, including biographies of all the Star Wars characters. In fact, there's so much information in it that soon I'll need a screensaver from a screensaver.
And cue Andy. Oh, that's me. Right, our main review this week is Stunt Race FX on the SNES, the latest game to use the Super FX chip. Stunt Race FX is an unashamedly cute game with little cartoony cars, but there are loads of tracks to choose from, including the Aqua Tunnel, which is set mainly underwater. There's also a selection of racers. Each car handles differently. The 4x4, for example, is slow, but it holds the road well, whereas the F-Type has brilliant acceleration, but corners on its door handles. So, plenty of options, but is it fun to play? Here's Adam.
The programmers have got it just about right with this game. The graphics are very smooth for a console, and you've got plenty of control over the car. For tricky tracks like Night Owl, which is the hardest on a novice difficulty level, it's best to use a four-wheel drive car which has good acceleration and a strong body, so that if you crash it doesn't matter too much and you won't die so easily. And one of the best things about this game is that it has selectable views, a close-up, a long shot and a cockpit view. There are 4 so-called stunt tracks in the game from which the game gets its name. This is one of them. They're not really stunts, you just drive around collecting stars. I would have preferred stunts in the style of hard driving with jumps, loops and so on. This is a 2-player mode, which really lets the game down. It doesn't go fast enough because it's splitting the screen into 2. And a lot of the screen is taken up with pointless maps and statistics which nobody's really looking at anyway. On top of this, they haven't even taken the opportunity to add guns and bombs to allow you to destroy the other opponent. You just have to race into the finish. It's a real missed opportunity. This is a really good game which might have got a 5 if it wasn't for the bad 2-player option and the poor stunt tracks.
I like the cartoony graphics and the fact that you can see the car from different angles.
It's fast and fun with some nice graphic touches, but
but I didn't actually get any sense of being in the race.
And so the final scores for Stunt Race FX, both the girls and the boys gave it a playable 4 out of 5.
So a score of 4 for Stunt Race FX. Now very quickly I'll just explain how the marking works here on Bad Influence. Our panel of expert game players mark games out of 5. To get 5, a game has got to be something really special like Super Mario Kart, original when it came out and great fun to play. 4-point games are pretty darn good, but they're perhaps not quite so original. R-Type's a good example of that, fun to play, but not quite as original. Average games score 3. Average games are a bit like teachers. They wear dull clothes, but some of them are okay when you get to know them. Sadly, most games fall into this category, including Asterix. Our advice with the price of games these days, unless you especially like the character or the style of game, avoid 3-pointers. 2-point games. What do 2-point games have going for them? Well, only 1 or 2 things, really. The rest of it will be a bit disappointing, so we wouldn't recommend you buy that. Crewball is a good example of a 2-point game. And 1-pointers are to be avoided like the plague. There are games like Pitch Fighter. There aren't many of them around, but those that score 1 point are real stinkers. And now, on a more uplifting note, off to the town of Bedrock.
Wilma, I'm home!
Flintstones, meet the Flintstones. They're a page right out of history. Fred and Barney really are a page right out of history. They started life as a cartoon nearly 40 years ago. The animators had a great time thinking up prehistoric versions of modern technology. Everything from Stone Age cars to dinosaur cranes. Now, it's easy to draw all that stuff, but making it come to life for a movie was a dinosaur of a task for the producers.
All right, let's clear it, please. Here we go.
They had to call on all the very latest movie technology to make the town of Bedrock real in front of the camera. The dinosaurs were a mixture of robotic models and computer graphics, and as usual in movies nowadays, much of the work was done after the location filming was complete. Creating effects like that live on stage is impossible, so visitors to Universal Studios Hollywood get to see something quite different. Flintstones Live is an old-fashioned musical.
I want Batman!
Fred wins a Bedrock talent contest and is flown to Holly Rock, USA to make the world's first rock video. From the audience, it all looks very low-tech, but because the show has to be repeated up to 15 times a day, every day of the year, with 3 different casts, behind the scenes, the show has almost as much computer technology as the movie. The main computer sits at the back of the theater and runs the whole show. The action on stage is divided into a series of events, such as when the house set slides forward. Before it sends the signal to start the motor to move the set, the computer checks that everyone and everything is in the right position. Then, for safety reasons, it makes the light flash on a control panel on stage. A member of the crew has to press an enable button to confirm that no one's accidentally wandered into the path of the set. When all's well, the set slides out, pulled by a chain mechanism under the floor. Of course, there's still plenty for the stage crew of 8 to do, including some pretty nifty rope work to fly in the newspaper headlines. Chief Techie on the show, Ilya Popo, took me backstage for a closer look.
This is the start of our Twitch sequence here, where Fred jumps in the volcano and gets launched out. Well, we don't really launch Fred out. What we do is we have a dummy that's in the backside of the volcano. But Fred does jump in, goes through a trap door that's under the volcano. Once he enters that trap door, he has to get to what we call an enable button. That enable button tells our computer and our technical director that, hey, I'm here, I'm safe, and he has to stay on it for the duration of the scene. Well, once he's on his button, technical director pushes his button, closes that door, opens another door, and launches our dummy out of our backfall volcano, simulating like we launched a Fred who fell in. Therefore, we don't lose an actor every show.
This is Z Wright having a gay old time in Bedrock.
And cue Violet.
Gay old Z there. The Flintstones game isn't out till nearer Christmas, but we've got an incredibly early version of it. So early, in fact, that it isn't even in the cartridge yet. There's only 1 level and there's no sound. We've been told the finished version of the game will feature sampled speech from the film and all the familiar characters. Fred, Wilma, Pebbles, Barney and Dino. It's a platform game, and for a change, the sprites actually look like the actors in the film. And now for this week's news and preview.